white shirt on your back. Never thought that you'd be everything that I'd attack. Well, I see your face. The only thing we have in common is the same birthplace. They try to tell you things look better in time. Well, I think it's just the way you use your own mind. Oh, no, 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 the world is changing. Oh, look at me, look at you. Oh, no, 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 the world is changing. Nothing I can do. A curl my head, I found it just the other day. Guess my mother hid it there. Well, there's no mistake and there's no disgrace to feel pain and show it on your own sweet face. They try to tell us things get better in time. Well, I think it's just the way you use your own mind. Oh, no, 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 the world is changing. Oh, look at me, look at you. Oh, no, 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 the world is changing. Nothing I can do. Welcome to a very Bill and Melinda Cinco de Mayo version, a special of today's. For fuck's sake, the world is changing. I mean, it's changing. We know it's changing. We'll get onto that later. It's changing so much that the power couple of power couples, Bill and Melinda, who seemingly had an open marriage, God knows he had once a year Humpty Dumpty Doodah with the ex-girlfriend. I mean, how much more open can you get than that? They rode bikes, they played tennis. It's coming apart at the seams. Now, when that happens, the world is changing. I'm sorry, I read some of the funniest comments on Twitter about why people thought they were breaking up. One was, you see, they're just like the rest of us. They're like the rest of us ordinary people. They just felt trapped living in the same house. For fuck's sake! I'm sorry. Sorry, Matt. Scared my cinematographer there and the dog. But when people who have a house that's got at least 144 rooms in it are getting on top of each other and getting on each other's tits, you know, when you have to get a limo to drive you from one end of the house to the other, no. Also, people with that kind of berserk cash, they don't stay in one house. They got a fucking, plane for everything. They got, there's you know what I'm saying. Now, the one that I thought actually made most sense made me laugh out loud, of course, was the person that said maybe she just got really, really, really bored of his heavy breathing. Matt's nodding. Because ultimately, that's the thing that's pissed us all off, isn't it? The fact that our significant others breathe. Don't even get to the teeth scraping on the cutlery. Or, I mean, it got to the point where it was just like, I never realized how fucking loud your breathing was. I mean, I think we've all gone, haven't we, Matt? We've all felt that one deeply. So maybe that's it. I'm thinking there's more to come. I'm not going to say anything. I don't know anything. I don't fucking know anything. But I do believe that there's more to this than sees that appears to the eye at first and all that kind of shit. But anyway, the world is changing. Truly, unutterably. And people who feel like they knew each other really, really well and that they had it sorted out, they don't. And they just fucking hate each other now. But still, at least the foundation is going strong. So we're happy about that. Let's do more with the vax, though, please. So, in spite of that happening, we are still going ahead with what I can only describe as being one of my favorite interviews that I've ever done. Yes, I know you're all waiting for it. The fantastic part 2A, because there's so much. We realized, didn't we, Matt, that it had to be a 3-parter. Yeah, 3-hander, a 3-fer. Because it was just too good to try and rush out in 2 episodes. So now we're going to get to part 2A of my interview with the fabulous Sue Flood. Now, where we got to last time, let me have a quick recap. She had been talking about, Sue Flood, of course, had been sharing with us that, being mentored by David Attenborough, doing the Blue Planet, Planet Earth, and how she'd made that very brave decision to actually go out on her own and become the wildlife photographer, by herself. And be singularly a wildlife photographer, and what a bloody wildlife photographer she is. So, and the kind that, of course, would take the photograph of what can only be described as one of my most beloved animal friends, the fabulous Ugandan elephant, Kathy, who I met, who Sue introduced me and Harry to in Abu Camp in Botswana, one of the highlights of my life. Again, that's the kind of wildlife photographer Sue Flood is. So let's all sit back and enjoy part 2 of this incredible conversation. Take it away, Matt.
Welcome back, part 2 of Sue Flood's miraculous life. There you saw one of my favorite photographs that you've ever taken. Is it because you introduced me to beautiful Kathy, that fabulous elephant in Abu Camp? Is that why? Or is it because it now hangs on my wall? So I can see her every day. The point is, you're an extraordinary wildlife photographer. And what I want to keep talking about is how, in the part 1, we spoke about everything that you did. David Attenborough, the BBC films, Blue Planet, Planet Earth, but then a very brave decision to break away from the BBC. I mean, that is brave, and we're very glad that you did. But now, how did you make those entrees out into just being known as being one of the great wildlife photographers? Please tell me about that.
Oh, well, thank you, Jude, for those lovely words. And like I said, it was really wonderful working with David. It was just a dream come true. But I really wanted to see if I could make a go of my photography. And early on, I got a really good bit of advice about entering competitions and trying to get my name out there. And that helped me, I guess, raise my profile or whatever. And over the last few years, I've tried to create this niche where, and the thing I really love doing is taking people into the natural world and helping them experience and get the most out of it, and seeing these little moments, interaction between this lion mum and cub, or this elephant here, the place I go to a lot in Zambia, Mafue Lodge in the South Wangwa National Park, and the incredible life that you can see there. I'm normally going there about 4 or 6 times a year. And
oh my gosh, I haven't seen this one. So
that was a pretty unusual event, seeing a leopard and an elephant in the same shot at once.
Young elephant. Oh.
Yeah, which was completely oblivious to this leopard in the tree. And then going to places like Rwanda to see mountain gorillas. it's funny, you'd asked me before about, I guess, close wildlife encounters, and this one just made me laugh. I'd gone to Rwanda about 3 years ago, and this rather lovely silverback gorilla that you see on my head had just climbed up into this tree to eat these shoots of bamboo, and he was completely aware I was there. I was right underneath, but there was just nowhere where I could go, because you can see here in this photo taken by my friend Jane that people are right behind me, and I've got the bamboo to my left. And as this gorilla got out of the tree, he lifted up his foot to step over me, but didn't lift it quite high enough, so I got a bit of a thump. But yeah, God, what a fantastic experience. And
unbelievable. I mean, I remember you telling me about this and seeing this photograph. It is extraordinary. A silverback. I mean, I'm just thinking of Doug's words now of just don't let them know you're scared. You know, don't show you're afraid. But how does it feel being that close to a silverback? I mean, did you curl into a ball? Did you become very small?
Well, I mean, just look at that. Face, and I mean, that's just beautiful face of this incredibly intelligent animal that is so close to
extinction again. Yeah,
so close to us, so close to extinction, and living in places like Virunga, and it's they are remarkable animals. You know, primates like chimpanzees, bonobos, gorillas, and they're just, again, what a privilege, and of course, under enormous pressure because of habitat loss and destruction and so on.
And that photograph of that face is the answer to your mother's question. Why have you got so much more patience with animals than you do with humans? I mean, it's very, very telling what you see when you look into the face of animals. That you don't feel necessarily with human beings. I think we all feel, though, so many of us feel that way.
Yeah, and a slightly more nerve-wracking encounter was one I know I'd shared with you, was leopard seals. This was in the Antarctic, which is, as you know, a place I absolutely love to go. And I was diving with this leopard seal, which is a very large seal, and this one got a little bit too interested in me and was trying to kind of, like, it was doing a sort of threat posture where she was opening her jaws very, very wide. And I remember just sort of, her jaws were right in front of my face, big enough that I could have put my head in her mouth, but which yes, I've got a few more grey hairs. But, you know, going to the Antarctic, that's one of the things I've loved doing since I left the BBC. And this was my last trip before lockdown, going with a bunch of friends who chartered this beautiful vessel to go to the Antarctic Peninsula, and just 12 of us going there. And, you know, if I had to give up travel tomorrow, even though I've been to the Antarctic about 50 odd times, this is the place I would return back to.
I think it's like in your bones, isn't it, really? Because I know, I mean, that's what's wonderful about you. Oh my gosh, that's stunning. You're so adept. I mean, in a heat, in hot climates, in cold climates, you do it all. You this expansion in your life, this new side to you that I have seen personally, where you take people who want to be in the natural world, want to see animals, want to be respectful of animals, but to be able to see these places before they disappear, of course, and to support them. That was one of the biggest surprises to me, and something that you are such a natural at, because it's not only your ability to see things that none of us could see. I remember the first time when we were in Botswana, when Harry and I and you were out in the Jeep looking at things from a distance, and you would say, look, you can see over there. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. See, there's that right there. It says everything about how you can be at home in these different environments. It's fantastic. I like the one on the right personally. I think it's just so fantastic. It's gorgeous. But it's just your eye, as somebody who has spent so many years looking, seeing, noticing what we lose time, we don't see it, you know, people who are just like not used to these environments. It was such a thrill to see these places, this world, for me to see Botswana, my first time in Africa, for Harry, the same thing, to see it through your eyes and to be introduced to it by someone who sees it with that photography eye, but loves it, knows it, is the enthusiast for it. And I know that, I mean, tell us about this now. I know that taking people tell us about taking people to see the Inuits and that experience, because I'm fascinated by this.
Well, yes, Jude, sorry, I sort of jumped in there with that photo.
No.
So this was, I put these two photos in side by side. It just makes me laugh. These were taken 3 weeks apart, and they're both events to do with photography. And one of, I talked about the Antarctic, which I absolutely love, and going in the Antarctic summer is it's really quite pleasant, and it's very comfortable. But I held this trip of my life going to spend time with the Nenets reindeer herders. Another place we're not going to see you and Harry, but this was just...
I can absolutely guarantee that.
Yes, I think you can. And this was, I've been there a couple of times now, and this was... So I was living in this chum, as it's called, and this was the first night. So there were just 3 of these, and these families in a very remote part of Siberia. And this was in March. So obviously not during lockdown, but what a fantastic experience. So these are Nenets reindeer herders, indigenous people from Siberia, and they are travelling. They're nomadic. They're travelling with reindeer. You can see here they have these sledges, wooden sledges, and it's an extraordinary way of life. Oh God, this makes me laugh every time I see this photo. You would have loved this. So the first day, basically, of course, there's no loo again. There's your chum, there's your tent, and there's a place where ladies go for a pee, etc., and the guys go somewhere else. And this first morning, I'd wandered out, and this reindeer had wandered off after me, and I thought, oh, isn't that sweet? Oh, look how friendly it is. Oh, and obviously quite big antlers there. And you can see there's absolutely really not much for them to eat, and they're kind of pouring through the snow trying to get to any lichen and that kind of thing. And I very quickly realised that the reason they follow people is because basically they see you like Starbucks, a Siberian Starbucks. So when you're trying to have a pee, you have got a reindeer with these bloody great antlers trying to shove its nose somewhere warm, and they are trying to drink your pee while you're trying to have a pee. Now, obviously, that's not great, and you're there trying to shoo them away. Clearly, a lot easier for a guy, but and I just could not stop laughing at this as I'm trying to shoo away the reindeer, have a pee, grab my camera, etc., etc. Not to be recommended, actually. But
can I just say though that fella's nose is pretty fantastic. You must admit, you can't deny that beautiful creature anything.
I cannot. I can deny though that not great to have sort of antlers waving around in other regions as you're trying to make yourself
point taken.
But what an incredible adventure, and
oh my gosh,
they have it so hard. So the women are up first thing, chopping wood, keeping the stove going off to collect water. Here she is dragging a little child across to go and look for snow that they're going to melt for water, making clothes, something to grow into here. And then I got the opportunity to go out with the men who were going off. This reindeer, I think, has clocked from the look on its face that it's not going to be much longer for this world.
Yeah.
And here I am taking a selfie, obviously a bit of a chilly day. And then this here,
great shot.
The woman is cutting off the, of course, absolutely delicious fat off the intestines, because nothing gets wasted. And of course, I've eaten some pretty unusual things on location. This doesn't quite compare to steak Diana Brennan's. but
now, let me get this right. Everything is raw, correct? Yeah, there it is. There's a photograph of all raw things.
This was my breakfast at 10 o'clock one morning, raw reindeer and a glass of vodka. Not delicious. And then on the way back, after a few days living with this wonderful family, this was a shot I took at 2 a.m, just when I'd taken my goggles off. And I'd said to Ed, our fantastic guide and interpreter, Ed, how cold is it? I think he said, it's about -35. And I said, God, it feels colder than that. Anyway, we got back, -48. -48 centigrade. And we've been in an open 6 hours. So yeah, I do like the cold, and actually, you know, some of my most fantastic experiences have been in the cold.
Oh,
From one extreme to another.
Wow. Now look at the size of that, Sue Flood. What is that incredible aircraft? Tell me what that is.
So this is an amazing aircraft called the Aleutian, and I flew down from Punta Arenas in Chile to go and spend a magical time at the southern end of the Weddell Sea in a place called Goulds Bay. So I flew down, landed on a blue ice runway, and then with Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions, where I was working as the Emperor Penguin person, and transferred to this magical aircraft, the Twin Otter. And there on the far right of the screen is my tent, which was my home for...
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
So I was this was our camping on the sea ice, and this was going to be my home for a few weeks. And this is my tent. I say, Sue. Honestly, what an incredible experience. So, you know, I would wake up, you can see it's pretty cramped inside. Look,
look how good
as you can see, very cramped inside. Pretty difficult living conditions. Here are my trousers. I'm
oh my God.
Freeze dry. But worth putting up with this sort of thing, because that was my view at 3 o'clock in the morning. And you'd be there asleep in your sleeping bag. And my big treat, I'd get into my sleeping bag, I'd put my hat on and get into my nice toasty sleeping bag. And of course, this is just sleeping on a little mat in your tent, and very warm sleeping bag, but no heating in the tent. And you'd get in there with your hat and your gloves and things, and then you'd be woken up by the sound of penguins outside your tent. And of course, you knew what it was, but every night I'd have to go and unzip the tent and take a look. I mean, how fantastic is that? And we were...
It's a truly, again, the word privilege, it keeps coming up, I know, but that is, it's extraordinary. So.
Oh, it was fantastic. And, you know, we were camped over a mile from the penguin colony so as to cause minimum disturbance. And you'd make your way across the ice, towing a sledge, and you'd see these patterns in the snow where the emperors had been on their belly, sort of going along with their flippers, scurrying across the snow. And then you would get to the colony. Oh, God, it was fantastic. And here I am. Here's a selfie I took in amongst the penguins at the colony. And to have that experience, you can see this is a pretty chilly day. My hat's frozen, my hair's frozen, but to be in amongst them and getting the experience of their lives, I mean, isn't that adorable?
Well, we said this in the last, for fuck's sake, when I was singing the great Bacharach, What the World Needs Now. You and I have spoken about this before, but what is it about penguins that fills you, when emperor penguins particularly, what is it that makes you feel filled with such love and such a sense of joy and humanity, but just pure love? What do you think it is? I mean, obviously they're ridiculously cute as babies, as the chicks, but it's more than that. There's something, there you go. I mean, good grief.
Ridiculous.
It's overwhelming. I mean, overwhelming.
For me, it's the opportunity to be close to these animals that are surviving in such an incredibly hostile environment. Incredibly hostile. And they lavish so much attention.
Wow.
Single chick.
Wow.
I love this close up here. You can actually see my tripod and camera gear reflected in the pupil of the penguin.
Oh yes, hang on. I'm actually moving it. Yeah, I see it. I see it. That's marvelous. That is marvelous.
Unbelievable, really. It's, you know, I'm watching what we did together, watching that second part of the interview. And it has occurred to me that the reason I never had children of my own is because I think I realized very young in life that I would not have either Labrador pups, which my sister and I, Sue, it's the truth, isn't it? We always wanted to have puppies. But also that I wouldn't have an emperor penguin chick. And if that isn't coming out of me, I don't want anything else. I mean, I'm sorry. Thank you, Sue Flood, again for the second part of our conversation. Truly remarkable stories, remarkable times. I just want to check up on some of your comments. We've got Melissa, stunning. And Nicola Strange, were they not scared of you? No, seemingly not. I think they seem. What have they got to be scared of? You know, there's Sue with her giant lens. Joel Dranzer says, utterly astonishing opportunity and work, and it's absolutely true. I think Sue said, when I've asked her a similar thing, Nicola, about were they not scared of you? I think the fact is that they become so used to you being around in their environment, they know you're not non-threatening. They've got more important work at hand, but also the fact that she said, you know, that exciting thing was waking up in the morning and opening up the tent, and there would be, you know, that noise on thousands, but standing right outside, sitting there, you know, that would be the first sight. I mean, it's just, again, is the word privilege overused here? Not really. It's astonishing. Yes, Susan Owen. Yes, such amazing, stunning pics, aren't they, Sue? Aren't they? Yeah. I know. I'm loving that you're all enjoying this so much. David Epstein, same thing. What a treat. You're not kidding. That's why I really wanted to do this so much. And it's so nice to see Sue commenting and interacting as it goes along. It's just so great. It's what I wanted, you know. So I'm used to, I've seen so much of her work. I know what she does, but it's so wonderful to be able to share this. And yes, Nicola, it's unimaginable. It certainly is for most of us who love animals and who just dream of these experiences. So more to come. We have the third section of this wonderful conversation where, as I said, let's see. Yes, there you go, Vincent. They actually pass their eggs back and forth for warmth. Yes, it's true. Yes. Absolutely, yeah. It's the most amazing thing. But we'll be having the third part of that conversation when, as I said, it gets to the most terrifying of all creatures and beasts, and that would be me, Judith Owen. You know, funnily enough, I have been reading an article, and there was a whole piece on it in The Guardian for you Brits out there. Sue, this will intrigue you, and you probably already know this, but now that they've got more and more drones being used to actually see the world and to study the world, it has become apparent that right out here in front of my house, out there in the sea, in the Southern California coastline, it is a nursery for juvenile great white sharks. And unbeknownst to most of us, and we can see it now with the drones, these fellas, and this is why Jaws was just such a criminal thing of what it did to great whites and how everybody was so terrified of sharks. These sharks are swimming under surfers, under swimmers, under kayakers, and no one knows. And the only way we know this now is by this drone footage. Looking down and watching these remarkable creatures who really, as it turns out, and Sue will join me on this one, don't like the taste of humans. That's not what they're after. We do not taste like seals. No, we don't. As it turns out. Now, from that, so Sunday will continue. In the meantime, Cinco de Mayo. What do you think? Here is my version. I got the earrings. I've got the everything. I'm trying to look like that colorful, incredible country. I've only been to Mexico once, and that was, I believe, in 2018. I went with Pedro and Leland. And it was the most extraordinary experience. Surprise. I mean, everybody got sick as absolute horror. God almighty, for fuck's sake. We actually thought we were going to lose this Martin Brown. He got so sick. And I kept alive until I had the Starbucks ice at the airport, having lorded it over everybody for so long, being nanny and shouting at them about not drinking the water. Anyway, that serves me right. Here's the point. I spent most of the time that I was in Mexico apologizing for what was going on at that time with the Great Orange One, the wall building, the keep them out, there's, there. By the way, keep them out, all those people that run this fucking country, keep them out, for God's sake. And all I did was apologize to these wonderful people, because Mexico, unbeknownst to me, it's my first time, warm, loving, kind, appreciative, hospitable. I mean, just amazing people, amazing country. And so Cinco de Mayo, who knew? May the 5th. Fucking hell, for fuck's sake. So Mensa, obviously, you see. But here, on this day that we celebrate the Mexicans beating the French at something, not food, but now on this day that everybody takes so seriously but doesn't know what the fuck it's about, because it was a battle with the French. Here we go. But on Cinco de Mayo, I feel like it is time to celebrate Mexico and the Mexicans, and the only way I know how, because again, I feel like there's a big apology coming. Thank God right now we're seeing less of those children, migrant children, who are trapped at the borders. We're actually seeing some kind of task force, some kind of way of getting them back to their families. It's a very, very dire situation, but I really hope that this becomes controlled and very, very soon. It's still pretty awful. But for the people of Mexico, for Mexico, all I can possibly do to celebrate Cinco de Mayo is to sing this incredible song by James Taylor called Mexico. Who knew? Who saw that one coming? Way down here, you need a reason to move, feeling foolish, running your stateside games, lose your loud, leave your mind behind, baby Jane. Oh, down in Mexico, it sounds so simple, I just gotta go. The sun's so hot, I forgot to go home. I guess I have to go now. Oh no. Americana with a sleepy eye, but his body's still shaking like a live wire. Sleepy senorita with the eyes on fire. Oh, Mexico, it sounds so sweet with the sun sinking low. The moon so bright like a light up the night. Well, makes everything alright, alright. Down in Mexico, baby's hungry and her money's all gone. The folks back home don't want to talk on the phone. She gets a long letter, sends a postcard back, but times are hard. Oh, Mexico, it sounds so simple, I just gotta go. The sun's so hot, I forgot to go home. I guess I have to go now. Oh, down in Mexico, it sounds so simple, I just gotta go. The sun's so hot, I forgot to go home. I guess I'd have to go now. Oh, oh, Mexico. Oh, Mexico. The sun's so hot, I just have to go. I have to go. I guess I have to go now. Well, that has been a right Bill and Melinda Cinco de Mayo, for fuck's sake. Can I hear a for fuck's sake? For fuck's sake. I would just like to say a big thank you to Mr. Matt Minlin, who is, yes, cinematographer extraordinary, lighting me like a dream. You know, I almost actually joined my eyebrows today. I almost did a Frida Kahlo Starve Fever. But when I did it, I literally looked like I should be immediately driven to a prison for the criminally insane. And so I felt that it wasn't the right move, and I did this instead. But you know how it goes. You know how that one is. But I do want to thank Matt for great switchering today and all the video work that he's been doing and for that interview with Sue and everything like that. Of course, a huge thank you again to Sue Flood. Sue! That's all I can say. And to my sister, Susan Owen, for discussing with me this morning, what would I, as we do pretty much every show, what shall I do today? And this was, this helped. So now, you know what the drill is. You know what the drill is. Enjoy your Cinco de Mayo. Know that you know what it means. Take care, get vaxxed, wear those masks. Have a fabulous few days until I see you on Sunday for part 3. Count them, 1, 2, 3. Mexican ring, by the way. Yeah, it is. So until part 3 of my conversation, the last one, sadly, but there'll be more coming, don't you worry, with the fabulous Sue Flood. Until then, this has been a right Bill and Melinda Cinco de Mayo, for fuck's sake, with me, your hostess with the mostest. Mexico, whatever. Judith Owen. Love you guys. See you Sunday. Take care. Mwah! Mexico. Guess I had to go. Oh, I have to go there.